Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to your new course. I thought I'd start with just a little video so you guys can see who I am and I can introduce myself, and then I can sort of describe to you what I think is going on in the course so at least you know where I'm coming from. That's the point here. According to the online teaching wisdom, I'm supposed to spend a couple of minutes right now letting you guys know how professional and impressive I am. So let's spend some time with that. Good? Okay, good. Let's move on to the stuff that actually matters. This is an online course. Now, as an online course, it means things are different. We're taking advantage of certain technologies, but we're also learning something about face-to-face, in-person contact, which is being lost. The challenge is when we try and use the technology to simulate the in-person contact, when we try and make it the same thing, because then it's always going to be a poor copy, a poor replica, a poor imitation, and we don't want that. Instead, the nice thing that we can do is we can take advantage of the advantages that online teaching gives us, the tools that are provided to us. So this course is based around me not trying to say this is an in-person class and let's pretend it's the same thing. Instead, it's trying to take advantage of some of the things that online gives us the opportunity to, that we can use, rather than pretending that we're actually in a classroom and just not being in a classroom. So one of the things that we lose is we lose connection. It's much harder to have connection here. This isn't a real sort of interaction. This is very much one way. I'm just talking to my computer screen right now, and this is my second take because I didn't like the lighting for my first take, and that matters. You see, it's not great right now. It's uneven on one side, but I don't care enough to actually do anything about it. So we're going to lose the connection because things are one way. I asked you how you were doing earlier, and of course you can't answer that. If you did answer that, you probably don't know how videos work, and that's something you should learn. But we do have other advantages because the way the course works, the way it is, we're basically getting this connection that you guys can have more sort of control. You can have more choice. You can take things on your own. The course is set up so that there are required content, but there's also some options. There's elective modules that you can do, and you can pick the stuff that works for you. And this is an option that I don't really have to do in class because everybody needs to talk about and work on the same thing. In order to simulate the connection or the discussion or the in-personness, which is not a word, one of the things that people often do is they take advantage of the discussion boards. Now, the discussion boards are set up in this course. For each bit of content, for each module, there is a setup discussion board for you to discuss the content there if you'd like. There's also a discussion board for you to introduce yourself so we can just sort of simulate that connection. Now, I've taken a number of workshops on this, and the standing wisdom is that we should require these for grades to force students to use them. I disagree. I find that when I assign grades to these or I require them, students just do what's required for the grades, and that's sort of the misuse of them. What I want you guys to think of for the discussion boards is I want you to think of this as a place where you can actually talk about the content in a way, or you can actually try and connect to the other students, but not in a required way. I want to stress that. These aren't required. You don't have to do anything. They're not connected to the grade in any way, shape, or form. But these are a place if something interests you in the content and you want to get a better understanding or ask for clarification or just discuss it with some people. If you read one of the modules and you say, hey, I understand dual system processing, but I don't get how it relates to intuition. How does it relate to intuition? I wonder, because intuition seems to be very quick, but it also can be slow. This is a place where we can talk about things and we can explore, and that's what the discussion boards are for. They're not graded on their own, but they do give you an option to improve, to develop sort of what you're working on. So I want you to have that in mind. The discussion boards are meant to be a useful tool. They are not a requirement, and they are certainly not a punishment in any way. The big thing that I'm looking for in this course is engagement. I want you to interact with the material. That means I don't want you just to repeat back what I say or what the information that presented to you is. Now, it's important for you to understand and really get that information because that's the sort of first step to engagement. I also don't want to just know what your gut response is, the first thing to jump into your head. Not that that's not important, because that's just as important as understanding the content is understanding yourself and your response to it. But I want to know what happens after that. I want to know what happens after you look at the content, after you understand it, after you have a response to it, and you spend some time and energy just working through the content on your own. That's really what this course is set up to test. That's what we're set up to evaluate. And that's a nice thing, because online we have the opportunity to do this. You have the time, you have the resources, you can work on this in your own way, at your own pace, and you can really show me what happens when you really engage with the content. So that's the point of the course, and hopefully you have a sense of where I'm coming from. Hopefully this video is useful and not a waste of your time, and hopefully most of all you enjoy the course and get something out of it. All right? Okay, nice to meet you.